You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Monday, 16th day of June, 2025. Wednesday we got the Fed, and Thursday we've got Juneteenth, which means we won't be here. Markets are closed. True story. Thanks so much for joining us today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. Now the first live broadcast, that one's private, members only, and those taking the 1-week free trial. If you have not yet taken your 1-week free trial, go right here to mytradingiq.com. The very top of the page, you'll find a purple button. In fact, you can't miss it. Click it, fill out the form, hit submit, and if you filled out the form properly, we'll get you indicators indicating today. Your trial will officially start tomorrow. But don't worry, I know there's a holiday coming and a weekend coming. You'll still get 5 consecutive trading days on the trial. There's no credit card required. We want you to focus on what's being taught. We want you to learn so that at the end of the trial you can make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not trading is right for you. Now, when the live training room ends each morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast, the noon broadcast, which is open to the public. That's everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. Now, there's 2 different ways you can join the afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com. This time, scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click that link, fill out that 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, about an hour before this broadcast starts, you'll get an email. In the email, there will be a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it'll automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you'll have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you still want to join live. And there'll be days when you're busy, can't join live, but want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. But you don't have to remember all that. Just youtube.com/CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,800 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. Now, if you're new to our little corner of the world, our YouTube channel is a great way to get to know who we really are. You can actually see how we've evolved over the years. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Now, obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to. But it is a great resource to have at your fingertips. And it kind of lets you know we've been around a minute or two. And again, to whatever degree you desire, you can see how we've evolved over the years from where we began to where we are now. youtube.com/CFRN. This is our daily schedule for each afternoon broadcast. So, today we're beginning a new devotional topic. We just finished up on Friday 3 days of Is God Listening? That's a great question. You've probably asked yourself that on more than one occasion. Today, we're beginning a new topic. Why trust the Bible? This is day 1 of 6, and our scripture today is Isaiah 40, verse 8. And I always share with you from the Message translation, but I'm going to mix it up a little bit, and today I'm going to read from the New International Version. It's just one verse. The grass withers and the flowers fall, but the word of our God endures forever. And that's a long time. So, what is the Bible and why should I trust it? Questions about the Bible can cause Christians to doubt and seekers to reject the faith before encountering Jesus. So over the next 6 days, we'll tackle 6 of the most common questions. Today's question is, what is the Bible and why should I trust it? Well, let's start with the fact that the Bible isn't just one book written by one person, but a collection of 66 books divided into the Old and New Testaments, written over 1,600 years by more than 40 authors from diverse walks of life on 3 continents in 3 languages. This is important for understanding why we can trust the Bible, because the integrity of any ancient writings is determined by factors related to those facts. Number 1, the number of documented manuscripts which still exist. The translation of a book into multiple languages, like the Bible, and its availability in multiple places, again, like the Bible, attests to its success and authenticity. In terms of ancient manuscripts, the Bible is by far the best attested, with over 5,100 handwritten manuscripts in Greek alone. Number 2, the connection between the events and the person recording them. The 4 gospel writers were right there, in on the action. What's more, historians of the day, like Josephus, give the same accounts of the events of Jesus' life. But Josephus was not a believer, quite the opposite. Number 3, the timeline of transmission. How close in time to the original events are the manuscript witnesses? Is there enough time and space for change to creep in, or legend to supersede history? The oldest manuscript fragment of John's Gospel is dated at around 125 AD. John died around 90 AD. A couple of decades to distort the historical truth John attested to. And I posted in our Breeze channel on Telegram a couple weeks ago. Scientists have, with the help of AI, changed this. We're talking about 35 years difference, but with the help of AI and those fragmented manuscripts, the originals, that timeline has been shortened. And that's a big thing. Beyond the facts above, there is another reason the Bible is one of the most trustworthy ancient documents. The care with which the Bible's text was scrupulously preserved is remarkable. Where there are variations in the manuscripts, differences in spelling or word order, the translators put these in the footnotes for everybody to see. This points to the integrity of the text. There's been no top-down agency editing or controlling it, which makes the Bible unlike the holy books of other religions. There's something radically organic and grassroots about this book, which is fitting, since it's about a God who took on flesh to meet us in our real world. Christians believe the Bible to be so much more than just a fascinating book that has stood up to historical, psychological, and literary scrutiny. We believe God chose to reveal himself to us by collaborating with human writers, inspiring them to record and carefully preserve his truth. In Paul's letter to Timothy, he described Scripture as God-breathed. Don't let textual skepticism or cultural unfamiliarity put you off considering for yourself whether this is a book of not just historical and cultural importance, but a book through which God can be encountered. A living word that will impact your life in profound and powerful ways. If it is true that Jesus of Nazareth was God in the flesh, his life matters. The accuracy of the records of his life matters. On that front, can the Bible be trusted? I believe it can. And external, scientific, modern evidence supports that position. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. This is the day you have made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. And thank you, Lord, for inspiring these writers to put together every line, every sentence, paragraph, and concept that you want us today, thousands of years later, to understand. Father, we see the Bible as your living word, and it speaks to us today just as profoundly as it did to my grandmother and her grandmother and Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, Amen. Amen and happy Monday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world going to start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently, the Dow's up 379 points, almost 1%. NASDAQ is up 295 points, 1.5%. S&P 500 is up 62 points, a little over 1%. And the Russell 2000 is up 23 points, a little over 1%. In the commodity basket, crude oil down $1.75, trading 71.23 last. Gold down $31.10, trading 34.2170 last. That's a drop of almost 1%. Silver up 8 cents, trading 36.43 last. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei posted a gain of 477 points, 1.25%. Shanghai rose 11. The Hang Seng gained 168. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 24. The DAX up 182. The CAC up 57. So it's a rare day when I can say this. We had a green day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. And right now, it's a big green Radio Monday here in the US of A. And as futures traders, you know how much we like those four major indices to be the same color, either all green or all red. Because as a futures trader, you can be long, short, and long again all in the same hour, if that's what the chart in front of you tells you to do. And when those four major indices are all the same color, red or green, that's when you get better follow through on your trades. Let's go to the news. Authorities have arrested the 57-year-old gunman last night, the one accused of targeting Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota, ending a 2-day manhunt. The suspect impersonated a police officer to fatally shoot State Representative Melissa Horton and her husband in Brooklyn Park early Saturday. He was also suspected of wounding State Senator John Hoffman and his wife earlier in nearby Champlin. Police have not publicly identified a motive. Authorities found a notebook with a list of roughly 70 potential targets on it, including Democratic lawmakers. Oh, Governor Tim. He's called the attacks politically motivated, while officials noted the lawmakers were outspoken in favor of abortion access. Assault rifles and flyers for anti-Trump protests were found in the suspect's car, prompting organizers to cancel demonstrations planned for later that day. The gunman had fled on foot Saturday after exchanging gunfire with officers at the Horton home. He was captured last night in Sibley County, roughly an hour away from the scene of the attacks. This was quite a tragedy. Our thoughts and prayers are with those still alive and with the family and friends of all involved. President Trump has directed Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, to prioritize deportations in Democratic-run cities. He singled out sanctuary cities, particularly Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York. The decision came after ICE agents were told last week to pause raids at farms, restaurants, hotels, and meatpacking plants. They were also told to end arrests of non-criminals. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, has reached out to Trump to advocate for the further end to farm raids, citing threats to the U.S. food supply. An estimated 42% of hired crop workers, more than 480,000 people, lack legal working authorization. That figure exceeds 1.1 million people in the hospitality industry. Officials have deported so far more than 207,000 people since January, up from roughly 271,000 in all of fiscal year 2024. Border encounters are meanwhile down 175% from April 2024, from over 179,737 to just 12,035. It's working. The G7 turns 50. President Trump and several other world leaders arrived in Alberta, Canada yesterday for the annual Group of Seven Summit. The forum, which includes the US, the UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the EU, comes amid rapidly escalating tensions in the Middle East. Originating in 1975, the informal bloc provided a venue for major non-communist nations to coordinate economic strategy. The group's share of global GDP has since dropped from 63% to around 49%, and now omits GDP juggernauts China, India, and Russia. The agenda includes wars in Gaza and Ukraine, U.S. tariff policies, and more. In the Middle East, strikes between Israel and Iran continued for a third straight day, following a Friday barrage by Israel targeting Iran's nuclear program. Aid groups estimate more than 400 people have been killed in Iran, while at least 13 people have been killed in Israel. Never forget, we were just talking about God's Word. And in His Word it says, whoever protects Israel, I, the Lord your God, will protect you. That's some motivation. Turning to Wall Street, U.S. stocks rebounded sharply today as jitters over a widening in the Israel-Iran hostilities started to retreat amid a report that Tehran is looking to de-escalate the conflict. Yeah, that's what they say. Words are cheap. Let's see what their actions are. I mean, we've heard this story before. Biden bought it, lifted all their sanctions, giving them access to billions of dollars, which allowed them to fund their war on terror. That's on top of all the money Obama gave them under the cover of darkness. Pallets of cash in all different currencies. It's Fed week. The Federal Reserve is widely expected to hold interest rates steady at its meeting this week, but investors will be watching for something else: whether the central bank policymakers are still committed to 2 rate cuts this year. The Fed's latest round of projections, released last Wednesday, they'll be released this Wednesday, will include the much-studied dot plot, a chart updated quarterly that shows each Fed official's prediction about the direction of the central bank's benchmark interest rate. The last dot plot, released in March, revealed a consensus among Fed officials for 2 cuts this year, as some were already factoring the uncertainties of President Trump's economic policies into their projections. Well. It's going to be real interesting to see what the dot plot says now that we've seen inflation go down, grocery prices go down, gas prices go down, and Lots of foreign investment coming into our country to create more jobs. The Trump family said it is licensing its name to a new mobile phone service, the latest in a string of ventures that have been announced while Donald Trump is in the White House, despite ethical concerns that the U.S. president could mold public policy for personal gain. I'm sorry, he's not Nancy Pelosi, so just forget about that. Eric Trump, one of President Donald Trump's sons, running the Trump Organization, said the new venture called Trump Mobile will sell phones that will be built in the U.S., and the phone service will maintain a call center in this country as well. Imagine calling customer service and speaking to someone in America. Wow. The announcement of the new mobile phone and service called T1 Mobile follows several real estate deals for towers and resorts in the Middle East, including a golf development in Qatar, announced back in April. A $1.5 billion partnership to build golf courses, hotels, and real estate projects in Vietnam was approved last month, but the deal was in the works before Trump was elected. Even oversight of such a company with the Trump name attached raises ethical concerns. Come on, guys. Seriously? The man's got more money than he can ever spend. Trump has already used the federal government to reward his allies and punish his enemies. Oh, this leftist legacy media is killing me. I'm going to have to just start writing my own news, I guess. The Federal Communications Commission, the primary regulatory body overseeing mobile phone companies, has already launched investigations of media outlets Trump dislikes, and in some cases is personally suing. For good reason, I might add. Still, Eric Trump said Monday that consumers deserve a phone that aligns with their values. Hardworking Americans deserve a wireless service that's affordable, reflects their values, and delivers reliable quality they can count on. Trump criticized Apple last month because it planned to make most of its U.S. phones in India and threatened to slap a 25% tariff on the devices unless the tech giant starts building the product in its home country. The company on Monday said the new gold-colored phone, available for $500 in August, called the T1 phone, won't be designed or made by Trump Mobile, but by another company. Oh, I do get tickled, don't I? Brussels negotiators hope that by agreeing 10% U.S. tariff on all European Union exports, they avoid higher tariffs on cars, medicines, and electronics, according to a report in German newspaper Handelsblatt. Citing senior EU officials, the paper said the offer to the U.S. would come with conditions and would not be permanent. Yeah, I don't know if Trump's going to jump on that. And Donald Trump's media company has filed to launch an exchange-traded fund that would invest directly in both Bitcoin and Ether, the latest in a wider push into digital assets tied to the president's personal brand. To my knowledge, there is no ETF out there that invests in both Bitcoin and Ether. You usually got to pick a Bitcoin ETF or an Ether ETF, but leave it to Trump. He's putting them both in the same box. The proposed fund, dubbed the Truth Social Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF, was disclosed in a regulatory filing today. It aims to give investors an easy way to gain exposure to the two largest digital assets and serves as a simple and cost-effective alternative to using peer-to-peer networks or digital platforms. Yorkville American Digital is listed as the sponsor of the latest product. Meta Platforms keeps writing bigger checks in pursuit of its artificial intelligence strategy, and traders keep cheering it on, encouraged that the expensive bets will keep paying off. And that puts Meta up a little over 2.25% on the day. Strategy, which trades under the symbol MSTR, we call it Mr., the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin, reported in a filing to the SEC today that it just purchased another $1.05 billion worth of Bitcoin. Oh, Michael Saylor. If you don't know who he is, you should check him out. Last name spelled Saylor. Senate Republicans plan to unveil key details of their version of President Donald Trump's giant economic policy bill, the one big beautiful bill, as soon as today, with the party pushing to enact the $3 trillion tax package by July 4th. And last, in world and national and Wall Street news, Israel and Iran exchanged fire for the fourth consecutive day today, stoking fears of an all-out war with the potential to drag in others in the oil-rich region and force the U.S. into a more hands-on stance. So there you have it for the national news. Let us go to the local news. And by local, you know exactly what I mean. Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. We're in week 359. Over the last 359 weeks, we've issued over 19,900 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on simple market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Now, Valerie did the recap this morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. At the time of the recap, since the markets opened last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued a total of 22 alerts. At the time of the recap, we were still waiting on the outcome of 10. That gave us 12 actionable alerts, of which so far nothing has been stopped out. I think we finished last week with 8% stopped out, but we had a lot of alerts. I think we had like 76 or something. I think it was 76 by the time. See, she did that at 6:30 a.m. Friday, but she did the final recap for the week. And it's in the Telegram channels. As soon as a week ends, it all becomes it's all in the public domain. Okay. So, here's where we are. Now, every logic alert comes with an entry price, an initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day. Then, usually additional targets and a final trade to target. Yes, you can trade them, but the real purpose of the logic alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. If you're going to trade for a living, you've got to be able to read the chart. Now, I know you can read the newspaper, I know you can read a mystery novel, but you see the charts, they don't have any words, sentences, paragraphs, or punctuation. It's a completely different language, and you need to become fluent. And that's why people become passport holders. One of the reasons, so that they can have somebody help them learn the language. Imagine if you're trying to learn any kind of foreign language. Do you think you would have a better time just reading from a book, or actually having a teacher that met with you every day for 2 hours and then provided you with personal one-on-one mentoring to help you learn this new language. You might consider that beneficial. That's what we've tried to make it. Now, 359 weeks and over 19,900 alerts. That's a lot. But way before we had Logic 2.4, and it's not just the E-minis, it's also crude, gold, and silver. Long before we had a Logic 247, we had our original alert service. Years before. The concierge trade alerts. And they're different. Number one, they don't come out around the clock. Now, this is going to be interesting to try to explain to you today, but let me do that. See, the CTAs are published typically 5 minutes. What the heck did I do? All right, I know what I did. I put out the CTAs early yesterday because I wanted everybody to have a chance. I usually get them out 5 minutes ahead of the open, but I got them out hours before the open because I wanted everybody to have a chance to study them. And wouldn't you know it, we had these huge gaps in some of the markets last night. So it kind of rendered them a little bit not as helpful. But when the CTAs are published on a typical day, 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open at 6 p.m. each evening. See, that's when today's the Monday session, but it began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. But I got them out around noon Eastern. I had no way of knowing there were going to be these huge gaps last night. Plus, once I did the CTAs, I realized that I should be rolling over to the U contract. So some of the logic alerts that went out last night are for the M contract. See, only the indices are affected. We've officially rolled the ES, the Dow, the Russell, and the NQ to the U contract. Nothing else rolled. But it was after I sent this out that I realized I should have been doing the U contract. So anyway, all of our members and all of our trial members had all of these targets. Last night, hours before the open, typically it's 5 minutes before the open. S&P, Dow, Russell, crude oil, NQ, gold, and silver. And I posted this thing twice. I know what it was, is I was trying to, first I put it in at my time. But that's Eastern time. That's what it should be. So the last one's the right one. Valerie probably fixed that for me. Thank you, Valerie. Okay. So with that said, let's go to the charts. We'll start where we always do with the daily chart of the S&P 500 E-mini futures, the bellwether. Now, as you can see, I've already rolled this to the U contract. And now this is wild, okay? Friday, look where the U contract found support. Right at the daily BBC. And now today, the U contract has ran right up into this area that we had labeled last week as potential major resistance. But we did all that on the M contract. So watch this. Let's go back to the M contract for just a second. And see how I had this labeled as potential major support right here? And it was. Okay. Now, on the M contract, we never really got up into that area. Okay. And I've explained why that's the area. So now let's go back to the U contract. And I put copies of these charts in the discussion group, both in the members and the trial members discussion group, so that we can reference them at whatever point we need to. But now we need to take this and we need to scoot it up. Okay. Now on the U contract, we got well into this area. You see this high way back here, February 27th, and then this high right here, March 3rd. The high June 11th was 61.2875 on the U contract. That's the beauty of market structure and important prices and important areas. The green line you see is called the BBC. Stands for bull, bear, cross. When price crosses below the green line, as it did on February 21st, we're bearish and anticipate lower prices. When price crosses above the green line, as it did on April 24th, we're now bullish and expect higher prices. Now again, price always reverts to the mean. It doesn't matter what kind of strategy or methodology you're using. It's just a fact of the markets. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. We call it the BBC. And when price pulls back to the BBC, the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. Held there and there and there and there. But then finally, it traded through. Just as it did back here. Okay. And once it trades through, the first pullback held, the second pullback held, and now the third pullback held. We're right up against resistance. Here's support. Now, the daily chart's important because institutional traders, the ones that actually move price, they look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Why? It has everything to do with account size. If you, no matter what you trade, futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, in fact, I challenge you, spend 2 minutes with the daily chart of whatever you're about to trade on your smaller time frames. Number one, you're going to get a free look over the shoulder of the deep pockets that move price. Are they buying? Are they selling like they were on Friday? Okay. You're also able to identify these major areas of potential resistance. Our next major area is up here at the previous bearish cross. Bearish cross is when the red line gets below the green line. Well, when you have a bearish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance. Now on the M contract, it was like 6,100, but on the U contract, it's now like 61.65. Okay. Try it. 2 minutes a day for a month. I don't think you'll ever go back. Now, all alerts are created on the 30-minute chart. And these are last week's weekly trading zones. The vertical line separates today, Monday. Back here's Friday. Back here's Thursday. Horizontal lines are the weekly trading zones. Now, the zones come out every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern for the last 15 and a half years. Once they're published Monday morning, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. But any alerts I send out Sunday night, they have to be based on last week's zones, because this week's zones haven't come out yet. Any alerts I put out today and for the rest of the week will of course be based on this week's zones. And on tomorrow's broadcast, on my screen, on my charts, you will see this week's zones. Okay. Now, when price rallies up to a weekly zone, we expect resistance till proven otherwise. When price drops to a weekly zone, we expect support till proven otherwise. Pretty simple. Now, the step line has crossed. And when now you see on the way up, you had price, the black step line, climbing. Once that step line goes from the left side to the right side of blue and climbing, that's when you expect a retracement back to the BBC. Now remember, the pullback to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. Plus, we've got support times 2, because when price drops to a weekly zone, we expect support. When price drops to the BBC, we expect, and these are 30-minute charts. Nothing magic about 30 minutes, just the time frame I chose years ago. I've stuck with it. It's been good to me. Okay? So as price comes down, we got 2 good reasons for the market to find support here, which could give us another leg to the upside. However, if blue and climbing rolls over and turns to red and falling, then we could potentially trade through the BBC. And if so, I'd be looking at this window of opportunity right here. I gotta shrink it a little bit. Okay, yeah, that's just right. So you'd be selling 60.48 down to 60.45. 60.45 to 60.48. Now that's very conservative, but that's 3 points. You only need 2 points to get your goal for the day. Now, that's if we trade through the BBC. On Friday, I had drawn in some long targets that filled and filled. And then we came back down to the bottom of the window, filled it again, ran up to the zone, found resistance, then came back down and filled the window in the other direction. And then we filled it again, and last night we filled it again. That's the importance of important prices, important areas. You're able to plan your work far in advance. Okay, so we'll see what happens there if we get there tomorrow. On the Dow, now again, this is the U contract. These zones were based off the M contract, right? Because they're last week's zones. But look what happened. Where did we find resistance? At the weekly trading zone from last week. How cool is that? Math's as trippy as orange sunshine. This was the opening candle last night. We gapped way down, okay, halfway into that window, and then came back up. So that was not our plan. Actually, we gapped here and we went down a little bit, so yeah, that was kind of negated. Now we did draw this on Friday, and we filled it, found support at the zone, then we opened last night, and then we filled the window in the opposite direction, going back up. We hit the zone resistance, get a little retracement, get a leg and a retracement, and look right where we find support, at the zone and the VVC. That's support times 2, which sends us right up to last week's zone based on a different contract, the M contract, the June contract. And now the step line is crossed, and we're most likely pulling back to the BBC. Now, if the pullback holds, then we'll be able to look at some long opportunities. If by chance price trades through the BBC, and I don't have any reason to believe it will, simply because the markets are kind of bullish today, but you never know what's going to happen. The Dow, you only need 20 points to get your goal for the day, so that's 85. We'll just call it 85 to 60. That's 25 points right there. Goal for the day. Once you identify these windows of opportunity, then all you got to do is wait for price to get there. That's what I call the rumpled one. I know you guys don't know him, but he's quite a clever character. He calls it big toe fishing. So let's say price comes down, the pullback holds. Well, it's got to overcome resistance at the step line. It's got to overcome potential resistance at blue and climbing or red and falling. But if price gets back up into this area, then here's a beauty. We'll call it 42,990 to 43,010. 20 points, goal for the day. On the Russell, here's where we opened last night. We had a gap lower open, pulled up to the BBC, consolidated at the zone. Only one of three things happens when price encounters a zone. 70% of the times consolidation, 20% of the times rejection, 10% of the times the slice. That's when a 30-minute candle slices through a zone like it's not even there. When that happens and the move runs out of steam, price will typically retrace back to the zone it sliced through and continue in the direction of the slice. Now you can see this was a green candle all the way up to here. It was trying to get to the zone. Price is always trying to get to a zone. Couldn't quite make it. Continued falling. So last night, we got a leg, a retracement. Now in this pullback, support times 2, the zone and the BBC. So we get a leg and a retracement, a leg. We get resistance at the zone, which sends us into a pullback to the BBC. The pullback held. And now, look at the high of today's session. Remember, when you have a bearish cross, red line gets below the green line, that leads to an extended move. First time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance. And sure enough it was. NQ. Now this is interesting. The NQ opened last night and it dropped to the weekly zone based off the M contract. But important prices in important areas are exactly that. So the fact that we changed contracts, look where the market found support, right at the zone. That sent us up to the BBC resistance, which sent us down to red and falling. When red and falling gets directly below price, it's usually on its way to becoming blue and climbing, which is bullish. So we consolidated, leg, retracement, leg, consolidation, leg, retracement, leg, retracement, leg. Now the step line has crossed blue and climbing. So what are we looking for? A retracement back to the zone. And once we get to the zone, if we start consolidating, like we do 70% of the time, the BBC will rise to meet price. So then either we put in another leg to the upside, but on the off chance that price trades through, we're talking about 22,048 to 31 at 17 points at $20 a point. That's $340 per contract traded. If you've earned the right to trade 10 contracts, then that's $3,400. Now those are all the ones that we roll to the U contract. Everything else is still the same. Last night we capped above the long target and then on the pullback we found support at the top of the target. And then we kept going to the BBC, but red and falling took us below, took us right down to the short target, right there. to the tick, as they say. Support will send the market looking for resistance, which it found at red and falling. That sent us back down to the short target, a little consolidation, a leg and a retracement to the BBC, the pullback held. And where did price find support? Just above the bottom of this huge window we drew on Friday. Okay, see the top of the windows here. So we came down. That'd have been more than enough to give you a go for the day. And then we popped, and then we dropped, and, well, that's how it works. Now we've retraced back to the BBC from below. This pullback held. Will this pullback hold? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I mean, nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going to happen next in the market. Not man, not machine, not AI, not nobody, not no way, not no how. I know they tell you all kind of stuff on their websites and the emails they flood you with. God, when he created Adam, he didn't give him the ability to change the past or know the future. So you might be asking, well, gosh, if you don't know what's going to happen next, then how can you put on a trade? Just like this. Here's a beautiful window of opportunity. Now, price has to get through the BBC. That's the first task. Then it's got to take out this high, and this high, and this high, and this high, and this high. Boom. Top of the window is right at the bearish cross. So we're talking 73.20 up to 73.50. That's $300 per contract traded. Okay. Gold. Gold capped up above the long target, consolidated. Blue and climbing turned to red and falling. Now notice the pullback held, the pullback held, the pullback held. But then we ran into red and falling. That took us below the BBC. And once we're below the BBC now, we expect lower prices. And it took us right to the short target. And the low we put in, that initial low, as you can see, it's that low right there. That's market structure. Support sends the market to resistance, BBC. Now, resistance is going to send the market looking for support. Now, look at this low right here, and look at this low right here. You see that? Also, price sliced through that zone like it wasn't even there, huh? It retraced back to the zone it sliced through. And then it continued in the direction of the slice for a little bit. But now it's up consolidating at the zone. So we only got one market left, silver, which I'm going to go over in some detail with you when I come back. Where am I going? Not too far. But Michael's here. He's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Then do some live trading on the TradingView platform. I'll come back, finish my recap, and wrap things up with our good word for the day.
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay, let me get this squared away over here. All right, your screens look good.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 16th day of June, 2025. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here to mytradingIQ.com, click on the purple button right here. There's no credit card required for this trial. So click on that purple button. Just click on that purple button and you would be brought to this page right here. All right. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. All right. Down at the bottom, give us your TradingView login ID. We really need to get that. If you want to take the trial, you really need to get one of those. If you don't have one, click on this link right here, right? Hit register. And when you do that, well, then you will be sent all the information you need to get everything working on your desktop so your charts look just like mine. Okay, that's what you should really be doing when you take the trial. Try to get your charts looking just like mine so we can be doing the same thing, looking at the same thing at the same time. All right, now the spreadsheet. If you're going to look at the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 16th day of June 2025. As I said, we're up 86 ticks on the NQ, minus 14 on the Russell, plus 44 on gold, plus 24 on the ES. That puts us at plus $1,100 on the morning session. Today took 12 minutes and 5 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $1,500, so we took a total of 19 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're up $7,980. So over 9 business days, averaging $886 per contract per 2-hour business day. On the year now, we're up. Well, we've gotten our goal for the day 100 consecutive days so far this year, 100 trading days that I've done this year. And we've gone 114 days since my last non-green day, 509 trading days since my last red day. So over 100 days, on the year, we're averaging $1,484 per contract per day. I was hoping to get more than that today, but we just didn't have the opportunity. Anyway, that's where we stand on the year. Over 100 business days, 100 trading days. We're up $1,484. I think there have been probably 106 business days, but for me, 100 trading days. All right. So if you were to add 1 contract per month with the 24/20 blueprint, or 1 contract for every $2,000 in profit that you make, you'd be at 6 contracts right now. And so far this year, if you quit trading when you got the goal for the day and you did everything just like I do, then you would have only had to work 12.4 hours so far this year. It'd be up $54,342, averaging $4,382 per hour. All right. That is how that would work out for you so far. Now, wait a second, that little red thing there. I don't know. Anyway, let's get into the trades that we took. All right, most of our trades today were on gold. It seems to be the way, at least recently. So let's start out over here on the NQ. And they had a few trades on the NQ, and they were mostly right here at the beginning. Wow, you can see the whole day on the NQ in one screen like that. You know something's just a little off. We started out with a stop out right here on the NQ. We're minus 60 ticks. And the next one right here, we picked up 70, 75. That got us up to 15. And then the one right after that, somehow I only got 71 ticks out of that. And we ended up with 86 total after that. And I didn't trade the NQ again after that right there. That was it. All right. The ES, we only had a few trades on the ES. We had one really nice one and one smaller one. We had a break even right here at the beginning. Then we had a plus 20 on that one right there. That was the big one. Then we had 4 ticks on that one right there. Got us plus 24. All right. And that was it. That was it for the ES. Now the Russell, we had 1 positive trade. It's our first positive trade in 2 days on the Russell. But we did have 1 negative trade first. We had a break even there. Then we stopped out minus 15 on that one. And then we had a plus 1 tick right there. That got us to minus 14. And that's where we ended it on the Russell. So the Russell has not been all that good for us lately. I'm tempted to get rid of it and put maybe crude oil in there in its spot. But maybe. We'll see. Gold is where we got the majority of the trades today. And actually, just the majority of the trades. It wasn't the majority of the money. We could have had our goal for the day early on with that one. Okay, we should have had our goal early on with that one. But it just didn't work out that way. I wasn't moving fast enough at the open today. Could have had it in the pre-market on this one right here. If I'd have been paying attention, that's first 30 seconds right there. I could have had it right in there. But then we took this one and I only got 2 ticks on that. I actually screwed that up and I got way more than 2 ticks, but I ended up getting like 3 different orders on there. And some of them went up like 15 ticks. One of them was a break even and one of them got 2 ticks. So I only counted the 2 tick one because I totally messed that up. And then I got a break even on this next one. And then I got a 13 on that. That's where we got the gold for the day. We got those 13 in. That put us at plus 15 on the gold. Then there was a whole bunch of gapping around here this morning. I haven't checked the news to see what caused it to do all that this morning, but something did. And remember, we're rolling over the contracts. We're not rolling over gold, but we rolled over the indexes, as Dwayne, I'm sure, told you already this morning. Okay. And so on the next trade that we took here, we picked up 8 ticks. We went from 15 to 23. And then we picked up 20 ticks. We went from 23 to 43. And then we stopped out and went down to 28. Then here we went from 28 up to 29, whopping 1 tick. And we picked up 10 ticks there to get us to 39. And then we picked up 5 ticks here at the very end to get us to 44. And that is where we ended it. That is where we ended it on the morning session. Okay. Now, let's see. I was just sorry, I had this thought. Now, during the break here, there were a lot of opportunities during the break without drawing things over and over again. Okay, good. Richard, I don't know if you're in here right now. Richard. Sergeant. No, I don't think you're in here right now. Okay. No, it's all good. Anyway, without getting into it too deep right now, we had I'm drawing a bunch of retracement lines anyway. See right here, we flipped from being below the YBR to being above the YBR. So when you're above the YBR, you have to draw from the bottom up. Okay. So when it first flipped, you would have drawn from right here, but now, well, you kind of have to wait to let this leg length develop right here. Okay, because the pullback back here, when you flipped it up right here, was just that little bit of one. It went through the 100%. So you kind of have to wait on that right now. Let it create another leg length for you, right? And that's where we stand on gold right now. But during the break, let's see, during the break, there was a leg up right here. It had 100% retracement right there. There was another leg up right here. It had a 50% retracement right there. There was another leg up right there. It had 100% retracement right there. There was another leg up right there. It had 100% retracement right here. Now that put in a lower swing, and it caused this right here. So if you would have taken the 100% trade right here, you might have gotten some profit out of it right there. You might have gotten a break even, but then it switched directions. Okay, so you probably wouldn't have taken that because it flipped to YBR anyway. So then you would have been looking here at a 50% for the short, and then back here it went 100% up, gave the down close right here. Now you wouldn't have done that because this one right here would have stopped you. So you wouldn't have done that or that. Going all the way over here, it flipped to YBR again. So now you're looking for it to come out of the oversold, which it did right there. And then you have this right in here. Short right in there, short right in there. It wasn't easy and obvious all that often this morning. All right, and as we get into the FOMC, as it's coming up here, I think you will see that the easy and obvious. Okay, that was a different gem. You will see that the easy and obvious. It just wasn't all that available today. What we're looking at right here, right now, you see that kind of made it into the overbought, but if you really want to get the good leg length, then that's what you're looking at. So you want to have an up close. You want to be trading off of this level right here. Okay, and over here on this one, where you came out of the overbought right here. So that's what you're looking at. It's not really a great spot to trade right there on the NQ. You're going in the opposite direction over here on the Russell, and it's pulled back through the 100% retracement, so you don't have anything good there. And you really don't have anything good here on the gold either right now. So let me save this for a second, and I'm trying to save this. Is it not saving? Oh, because it's got that thing on it. Okay, there. How do you put on and take off that box? Well, you probably have it over here, Bart. Okay. Unless you made a copy of my thing, which we walked through last week, and then you might have it up here. You just put that on, just click on it, or click on it over here, either way. You hold your mouse down, click and hold your mouse down until you get to where you're going to stop. Let go of your mouse, then click again. Okay. So you click it like this. If I wanted to do one from here to here, I would grab it right here at the top and drag it down to the bottom and let go of it down there at the bottom. Okay. I'm hoping to have that kind of automated here coming up. Anyway, to some degree. Like right here, a down close on this right now on the ES. You could have actually even gone aggressive on the ES right there without waiting for the down close because the entry was right here at the midpoint. So I just jumped on that. And here it is. All right. So my stop is going to break even right now after 4 ticks in profit. And I'm going to lock in 2 on that. And I'm out with 2 ticks on that. Okay. So that was right here. Could have gone aggressive on that, and I did actually go aggressive. Where that went into the overbought, and it was right there at the midpoint. Okay, did that work for you, Bart? That's what I have to do. My friend, you just gotta grab it like that, and pull it, and click it again when you're at the end of it. Okay, that's not an actual spot. But now the new one right here, now that it's done what it's done here, the new one is like this. You grab it here, and whenever it finds the bottom, you'll be able to click. Okay, right now it'd be right here. But whenever it finds the bottom, you'll be able to click and draw it. Okay. All right, and if it doesn't find a bottom right here, if it keeps going down, I'll just stretch it out a little bit more like that. All right, so wait. This could give you an up close right here. This bar could give you an up close. It's going to be just about at the midpoint. Just about. That could be a spot to be aggressive. We just flipped to YBR here. So now we flipped to YBR on the gold too. We needed to do that for both of those. But now that we flipped to YBR on the Russell, you grab it like this. See Bart right here where this came out of the overbought? You grab it from there. Drag it down to actually right here is where we would drag it right now. All right, where it went back into the overbought. Or it went back into the overbought, the high and the low between that. But the way it's worked out now, you're going to drag it all the way down. Over here with the gold, you have a similar thing going on. You know, you would originally drag it from here down to here. Then it got into the oversold and it went back into the overbought. So then you would have to drag it from here where it came out of the overbought and went back into the oversold like that. Be like that. All right. So it's messy in here on the gold. It's messy on the Russell too. Nothing's easy and obvious right now on those two. So if you're waiting for the easy and obvious, wait over here on the ES. Okay, the ES is the only thing that might set up something easier and obviouser, more obvious. It looks like it's not going to do it right now, but an up close on this would probably put it up here at the midpoint or pretty close to the midpoint, not at the midpoint, put it right about here. So that won't be a trade, but the bar after that, could have a wick that hits the midpoint and closes down. Okay. So nothing's easy and obvious right now. So we're just waiting. Waiting. Now, I created a thing. I thought I created a thing. Let me see. Nope. It's not showing on this computer. Oh well. Maybe if I hit save on this and I refresh on this. Oh, I forgot. I'm not logged into the right ID. It's not going to show on this computer. It's not going to show things that are TIQ on this computer. Okay. Well, then I'll stop doing that. All right. So we didn't get the up close here yet. We got an up close there. Now this could end up doing. It could end up giving us an aggressive short trade. It's got a low right here of 8.5, 10.5, 8.5, 9.5. No, it's going to miss it by just a little bit, a couple of ticks. It'll be all right though. I think if you get an up close on this bar, it could be a spot to go aggressive short. All right. This is going to go into the overbought at the time that you're hitting this right here. It's not going to be exactly at that. It'll be a little bit above that, but I think it'll be okay to go aggressively short on that, on the up close. All right. So what you're looking at here, 8.5 is going to be up to 90.5. Is with the up close is going to be at 90.25 right here. So that's something you might want to consider shorting up there. Okay, and this stretched down to here. All right, so that's what I was talking about right there on the ES. Now, it's not the perfect spot to aggressively short it. I like to be right at the midpoint, but I just shorted it right there. Okay, it's not the perfect spot, but it's a pretty good spot. Went into the overbought at the midpoint right here. So I aggressively shorted it right there. Okay. We'll see if that works out or not. My stop is at 275, so my stop is just above the 100% retracement. And the gold is giving us a little more to work with now. If you get a nice down leg here on the gold, we'll have a little more to work with on that. I'd like to see the same kind of thing happen here on the Russell right now, but it's not happening yet. All right, well, we're pretty close to stopping out on the ES trade right here. We picked up just a couple of ticks on the last one, but we're pretty close to stopping out on this one. It did hit the 100% retracement right there, and it did stop us out. Well, that stinks. Well, hopefully we'll have another opportunity here. Okay. All right, so now we just have to wait a few minutes. All right. We have a little bit of a leg length right here on the gold, but nothing really to work with. You see what I mean? Same thing here on the Russell. Nothing really good to work with there. And the ES have to stop us out to the tick, exactly to the tick. It's starting to move down like it should. All right, so again, if you haven't taken a free trial with us, then go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There is no credit card required for the trial. You click on that, it's going to bring you to this registration page. Just fill out the form. Once you fill out this form, you will be sent a link to get into the morning session, right? And once you give us down here, you give us a TradingView login ID, we'll be able to enable the indicators. Your indicators will be indicating on your desktop for you, so you can follow along with everything that we're doing. It's really a simple process now. You just got to go do enable that stuff. Give us the ID, we'll enable it for you, and then you'll be sent a link to this right here, or this, either one of those. But you'll be sent a link to them. And on those pages, all you have to do is just click on it and make a copy of it. Right? This is the URL right here. That's the URL right there. Click on that. And it'll bring you to the same place as those other links. Okay, you'll be able to make a copy of the chart that I have with all the drawing objects that I have on it. Everything that I've done today. The drawing objects and all that stuff. The trades that I took, all these arrows and all that stuff will be in there for you. Okay. All right, so we have 6 more minutes and we'll see how it goes here. It's pretty slow. NQ just flipped up, so now you're basically drawing up from here to here right now on the NQ, like that. Okay. We're waiting. This is going to flip to YVR, it looks like. Nothing here, nothing here. This you have to extend down like this now. Over here, like that. Now. All right. Well, now this goes from there all the way up here now. All right, so that's correct. That's correct. This one got all mixed up. It's nothing. This one you can't really do anything with either. This one stretched out a little more. So what I wanted to see is I want to go out here for a second and see this. So after that big move down on Friday, we've retraced 100% of that move from Friday. It'd be really bullish if we close up above this today. Now, if I switch this and I go back to the other layout that we were using last week with all the drawings that I had on it. This one.
Isn't it amazing how on both the M and the U contract, price found support at the BBC, the daily BBC?
Exactly. Right, exactly at the BBC.
Both contracts.
And if we go to the ESM, that's where all my drawings are on the M contract. There they are. So I'm still expecting it to get out here at some point.
But now, keep in mind, guys, the prices are drastically different on the U contract. But that's what I call market structure. Important prices, symmetry. Important areas, symmetry, yes.
It's a good thing. See right here, we're priced at 60.42 on the M. And we're at 60.95 on the U. But all the same things that have been all the same places. Let me give you the volume on that.
And we didn't have to curve fit any kind of data to make that happen. It's just a natural occurrence in the market.
It is indeed. It is. I mean, it's math. Math is always right. It's consistent anyway. It may not always give you the result you want, but it's going to give the result that it should give you based on the calculations you give it.
In the discussion group last night, I was talking about this very thing, and I said, math's trippy, kind of like orange sunshine. And one of our members, who will remain nameless, he replied with, I'm more of a purple microdot kind of guy. I said, okay, fair enough.
All right, here we're going to go all the way up there like that. Go all the way up there like that. And this one, now it's flipped to YBR, so you're going to start from the bottom over here. All the way up there like that. And you see we have the zone right there. All right, well, I guess that's going to be it, guys. It looks like we might get a trade set up here and here and here. But it's time to wrap this up and send it back out to Fabulous Phoenix, Arizona. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com and click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. It's going to bring you to the registration page. Just fill it out. Give us your TradingView login ID, and we'll get everything indicating on your desktop. Okay. All right. And with that, I'll pass it back out to Fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. The wave is ready.
Yes, sir. Okay, recap of the morning session.
Today it took a long time. It took 12 minutes and 5 trades.
Oh, wow.
And $1,500.
Good job.
Those are new highs for both of those on the week. The number of minutes and the number of trades. To get to $1,500.
Excellent.
So those are
excellent job.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so those of you that have been tuned in from the beginning, we left off on the silver chart. Okay, I think silver is getting ready for another big move, but I've been wrong before. Now, if you want to take advantage of this potential long move, I would consider an entry at 36.50. 36.49, 36.52. That's $150 per contract traded. Only takes 2 pennies to get your goal for the day with silver. So here's where we opened last night, and the first 30-minute candle ran up to last week's zone. Remember, every alert that goes out Sunday night, it's based on the previous week's zones. But everything that goes out today and the rest of the week, of course, will be based on this week's zones. And you'll see this week's zones on my charts tomorrow. So resistance at the zone sent us down to support at the zone multiple times. We hit the short target. Now the opening of this candle here, 36, 32, down to 23. That's 9 pennies. That's $450 per contract traded in that one candle. Okay. Then the zone support. Remember, resistance at the zone sent us to support at the zone, which sent us to resistance at the zone, back to support at the zone, back to resistance at the zone, and then support at the short target. That sent us up through the zone. Now, remember, only 3 things happen when price encounters a weekly zone. 70% of the times consolidation. 20% of the times rejection. Look at all this rejection on Friday. Okay. And 10% of the time is the slice. That's when a 30-minute candle slices through the zone like it's not even there. When it runs out of steam, it will typically retrace back to the zone it sliced through and then continue in the direction of the slice. And that's what it did. It's a beautiful thing. So support, and then the pullback to the BBC held, sent us up to red and falling, which sent us back to the BBC. Then we, in a power move, we overcame red and falling, tagged that long target again, and that resistance sent us looking for support, which we found right here. Get this little double bottom right here. Okay, you should be expecting support there. If you don't get it, that's fine, but you should be expecting it. And we got it. And that sent price all the way back to the BBC, and then it ran all the way back down. Then the next candle took us up through the BBC. We consolidated, and if the market does continue to move higher, there's your window of opportunity. And if price falters and comes down through the BBC, man, you got a big window here of opportunity. Got to make sure you get below that little elbow right there on the black step line. So here you'd be selling 36.37 to 36.30. $350 per contract traded. Is that right? 7 pennies. 37 to 30. Yeah, 7 pennies. So $350 per contract traded. Only takes 2 pennies in silver to get your goal for the day. Now, it's not the best market for a beginner, but there may come a time when once you've gotten the strategy and the methodology down, you know how to read the charts, you understand the indicators, it might be a market for you. I see it more as a long-term investment than a trading vehicle, but that's just me. Now, we went through all the other markets in great detail. If you missed the beginning of the broadcast, once I sign off in about 30 minutes to an hour, you can go to youtube.com/CFRN and you can see today's afternoon broadcast in its entirety. Everything. The devotional, the news, everything. And by the way, guys, even if you don't watch on YouTube, do me a favor, just open a browser tab, go to youtube.com/CFRN, click the subscribe button and tick the little bell. This way, anytime we go live, you'll be notified. Okay, it'll pop up in your browser or on your phone that CFRN just went live. Because part of my future plans have us doing some live sessions for 15, 30 minutes, 45 minutes outside of our live training room, and our normal everyday 2-hour broadcast. So you want to make sure you get notified when I choose to go live because I see something really great setting up. So again, youtube.com/CFRN, hit that subscribe button, tick that little bell, and again, that, it's 100% transparency. That helps more people find us, okay? And if you're getting help from this, why wouldn't you want to share that with other people? Hitting the subscribe button doesn't cost you a dime, just 60 seconds of your time. So now on the ES, the step line crossed, so we were looking for a pullback. And remember I told you if we consolidated at the beginning of the broadcast, it would drag the BBC up to this zone from last week. With blue and climbing overhead, I still expect a retracement back to the BBC. Let's see what happens. If price trades down through the BBC, pullback holds more often than not, but eventually it'll trade through. I already drew in a window earlier in the broadcast for a nice short. Something like 60.49 down to 60.46, 3 points, $150 per contract traded. The Dow. This was the open last night, and we ran right up to the zone. Last week's zone on a different contract, on the M contract, resistance. Then we finally overcame the zone, held on a pullback. See how it was resistance here, support here. Sent us right up to the next zone, which we expect to be resistance until proven otherwise. And I've already drawn in a long window and a short window. By the time we have this broadcast tomorrow, I assume that one of those two will have filled. Okay. Russell. I didn't draw anything on the Russell. Let me do that. Let's go 2149 to 2152. That'd be 3 points, $150 per contract traded. Oh, and what if price comes down through the BBC? Well, that's an easy one. Right there. Right there. See that little wick sticking out the bottom of the window? Because that's a good spot for buyers to come in. So by the time I get to the bottom of the window, I want to be taking profit or really tightening on my stop. Okay. The NQ. We've already drawn a short window. And we're up against resistance, so I think we're going to pull back to the BBC. Now, if the pullback holds, this is support times 2. We may get another leg to the upside. But before that happens, I think we'll visit the zone and probably the BBC. Crude oil. So last night, we gapped way above the CTA long target. The gaps were huge last night. I really wasn't expecting them. But this window we drew on Friday, live on the broadcast, it filled last night. That's called planning your work in advance. Okay. And if price trades through the BBC here, and it very well might, because we've got blue and climbing chasing price, but we got to overcome that high, that high, that high, that high, and then there's your window. Okay. And gold. We gapped way up there, then we came down, we had the short target. Step line crossed, See the step lines on the left side across to the right side? That tells us price is going to probably pull back to the VBC, and it did. And the pullback held, and then we spiked it all the way down to here, to this low from Friday. Market structure. Now, on gold, you only need a $1 move, but this is just so tight right here. I would feel better putting a short window right there. That would mean selling 34.05 down to 34.02. That's $300 per contract traded. When crude moves $1, that's worth $1,000 per contract traded. When gold moves $1, that's worth $100 per contract traded. If silver moves $1, that's $5,000. So I wish we had time to sit here and wait, but we don't know how long that's going to take. And I just covered silver. So that was the Cliff's Note version. If you want to see everything we did and talked about in today's broadcast, youtube.com/CFRN, 30 minutes to an hour after I sign off. One last look at the daily. Now, I'm sure you want to know, man, how can I get in on this? Go to mytradingiq.com. Watch the videos, read the content, then send an email to support@cfrn.net. And just say I want to become a member. Valerie will send you an info kit that explains everything it means to become a passport holder. And she'll provide a link you can click to seal the deal. The first thing is 2 hours of live training every trading day in an interactive environment. Michael's putting on taking off trades, explaining every trade he takes, every move he makes, and showing you the results, good, bad, or ugly. We don't sweep anything under the carpet. Real trades and live markets with real money. 9 out of 10 new traders fail simply because they do not have anyone to teach them the business of trading. There's a million rooms out there with grumpy gurus and, well, you know, if you've tried to become a trader, you've been through the mill. You've spent a lot of time and a lot of treasure. But here's the thing. Nobody offers you the complete suite of things that we do. They just don't, okay? If you can find one, please bring it to my attention. We'll buy them. So, the live training room, you're watching Michael, listening, learning, and trading along in your demo account so that you can qualify to trade real money. When you become a passport holder, you don't just start trading live right away. That would be a good way to blow up another account. You got to learn the methodology and the strategy. But because it's a rules-based methodology, that makes it simpler to learn. Okay? You're going to ask questions, and then pretty soon you'll find yourself asking the same question again, and the second you ask it, you realize you already know the answer. But Michael will give you the answer again, and you'll go, dang, that's the same thing he said 2 weeks ago. It always will be. Okay? So along with 2 hours of live interactive training every trading day, you still, on top of that, get private one-on-one mentoring. Just got to ask. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Stocks, futures, crypto, Forex, ETF, doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. As a passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. You get the concierge trade alerts the second they're published each evening. Monday mornings at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you'll get the weekly trading zones. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They do not change in any way whatsoever. And every Thursday afternoon, you'll get an invitation to attend the members-only workshop every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And on top of that, you're going to get the golden key that opens all the private channels in Telegram. Now, when you're on the trial, you're able to chat and discuss and ask questions of our current traders. Not many places will let you do that, because people might say something weird. So they keep you segregated, you know. Some places, even after you become a member, they don't let you mix and mingle with the other members. We don't do that. We're just transparent, okay? We want you to ask questions, not just of us, but of our traders. What you're going to find is a lot of happy campers, because they, like you, blew up accounts, bought this thing, bought that thing, but they never found anyone willing to actually teach them how to trade. And that's what we offer. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. Let's wrap it up with our good word for the day. Rejoice. Day 41 is coming. Luke 4:2. For 40 days he was tempted by the devil. Of course, we're talking about Jesus. In Scripture, the number 40 denotes testing, trials, and temptation. God told Noah, 7 days from now, I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature I have made. Genesis 7:4. Goliath defied the armies of Israel for 40 days. 1 Samuel 17. For 40 days the Philistine came forward every morning and evening and took his stand. Well, we know what happened to Goliath. On the threshold of his ministry, Jesus was attacked by Satan for 40 days. Luke 4:1. Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, where for 40 days he fasted and was tempted by the devil. But day 41 was coming. After 40 days of rain, God gave mankind a new beginning. After 40 days of Goliath's threats, God gave David a spectacular victory. Just a young shepherd boy. All the armies couldn't take down Goliath, but a young shepherd boy who loved God, who had a heart after God's own, walked out with a sling, a couple stones, took him down. Goliath never saw it coming. And after 40 days of temptation, in Luke 4, Jesus returned to Galilee in the power of the Spirit, and news about him spread through the whole countryside. So the word for today is, hang in there. Your day 41 is coming. Don't give in to fear and despair. Don't give up. Don't run. God has ordained victory for you as a believer. You may have taken a few hits and you may carry a few scars, but God will bring you through whatever it is and make you stronger and wiser if you trust Him and stand on His word. The Bible says, greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. 1 John 4:4. The power at work within you is greater than the circumstances that surround you and the foes that oppose you. So again, the good word for today, Please rejoice. Day 41 is coming. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.